Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Respected brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This great and very special occasion, the month of Holy Ramadan, I extend my best wishes to all of you. Ramadan Mubarak, Ramadan Kareem. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept your siyam and your qiyam and your good deeds and your ta'at. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this month the month of transformation and acceptance. In this new program through MuslimDo, we will be talking about Islamophobia. It's a very, very serious issue that we all need to understand it, because whether we like it or not, it does have a direct impact on our lives. What is Islamophobia? How far did it go? How did it originate? How should we deal with it as Muslims? All of these questions, inshallah, we will be answering during the few episodes that will be aired through MuslimDo in the month of Ramadan about Islamophobia. This is your brother, Feras Mraish. It's a pleasure always to be with you, and inshallah we will benefit from these episodes. I want to start today with Islamophobia in Canada. If you search Islamophobia, you'll get a lot of information, some of it beneficial, some of it is worthless. But I want to start with the definition. And I came across a good website. It's called the Canadian Encyclopedia. And I really like the definition that I read in that website. So let's read it together. It says Islamophobia and anti-Muslim hate. So it mentions two things. It mentions Islamophobia and anti-Muslim hate can be defined as a systematic hostility toward people who are or appear to be Muslim. So it's a systematic hostility toward people who are or appear to be Muslim, which is very interesting. And I'll comment on it in a second. Or toward the religion of Islam in Canada, which I really like this addition. So people who are Muslims, appear to be Muslims, and hostility or attack towards the religion itself. This is how they defined it in the Canadian Encyclopedia, and I'll talk about the significance of each part in a second. In Canada, this hostility has been manifested in a growing number of acts of discrimination and attacks against people associated with the Muslim community. Although the generalized use of the term Islamophobia to refer to this phenomenon is recent, Islamophobia as a lived reality is not. So the understanding of Islamophobia, the definitions of Islamophobia, it's all new, but in essence, if we understand the true meaning of it, it's not new. It's a reality and it's always been there. I want to compare this to the definition of Islamophobia in the Ontario Human Rights Commission. Very important, because definitions make a huge impact on the understanding of the issue, on how to deal with it. Many things are related to the definition. And we all have the experience as a Muslim community worldwide, the dispute and the arguments and the disagreements on the definition of terrorism, for example. It was never fixed. It is for those important reasons, because when it's fixed, it'll become easier to deal with. Nevertheless, going back to the definition of Islamophobia in the Ontario Human Rights Commission, it says Islamophobia as stereotypes, bias, or it says that Islamophobia is stereotypes, bias, or acts of hostility towards individual Muslims or followers of Islam in general. Stereotypes, yes, bias, or acts of hostility towards individual Muslims or followers of Islam in general. The Commission also regards Islamophobia as the idea that the Muslim community is a greater security threat. So it does focus on a very important idea perceived by some members of society, of our Canadian society, that the Muslim community is a greater security threat. This racist belief is thought to be present within society and its institutions, that is, systemically. So this idea is not just held by individuals, but it's also held by institutions, which is called systemic discrimination. The difference between these two, we'll talk about the commonalities and the difference between these two definitions. Commonalities, hostility, yes, and systemic hostility. So it's not just from individuals, also from institutions, also from government institutions. So, and discrimination, bias, stereotypes, all these actions by members of society or by institutions towards Muslims. The encyclopedia said, who is a Muslim or appear to be a Muslim. So, two different things. Muslim is an adherent to the codes and the principles of Islam, is a code-compliant Muslim who sticks to Islam as a whole. Appears to be a Muslim. It was interesting that those of you that witnessed or lived in Canada during 9/11 in 2001, we heard about attacks on people that are not Muslims but appear to be Muslims, whether it's skin color, whether it's the turban, whether it's the beard. So unfortunately, there are people that suffered from Islamophobia because they appear to be Muslims. So I appreciate having that detail in the definition of the Canadian Encyclopedia. But the encyclopedia added something extremely important, which is towards the religion of Islam. The religion of Islam. So not just individuals based on their self-claim to be Muslims. This is very dangerous, and we talked about it in different programs, but we need to shed the light on it here. Muslims that are adherent to Islam and attack on Islam, meaning attack on the principles of Islam. This is also Islamophobia. For anybody to come and tell me, you have this in your religion, you have this belief, or you have this understanding in your religion, but by the way, it's not, we don't like it. So maybe you should remove it from Islam. Or, you know what, here is such and such person, claims to be a Muslim but doesn't believe in this principle. So maybe, there are difference of opinions. This for us as Muslims is extremely critical. Our principles, undisputed principles, as reported to us in the authentic teachings and authentic sources, these are undisputed. When we know this is part of Islam, any attack on Islam or any attack on Muslims, this is Islamophobia. We need to regard it as Islamophobia. We need to deal with it as Islamophobia. So this episode was focused on the definition. Very important to understand the definition, and very important for us to distinguish between what an attack on an individual, on a Muslim as an individual, and on the religion is. We cannot separate them. An individual Muslim, a Muslim is an adherent to the religion. An attack on the religion is Islamophobia. An attack on a Muslim individual is also Islamophobia. We'll continue inshallah in the next episode about the difference between two terms, Islamophobia and anti-Muslim hate. What's the difference? And is there a preferred term to be used? In the next episode, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair for watching. May Allah accept your siyam. We'll see you in the next episode. Wassalamu alaikum ورحمة الله وبركاته.